Alphamon, redigitize. I am Alphamon.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to another Digimon review. This time, we had to take some creative license with the opening because Alphamon's never had a Digivolution sequence besides Doru Greymon going, "Rah!" because apparently Alphamon works on Super Saiyan powers. And that's it. That's all I got. So I just wanted to apologize for just making something up because that's what I needed to do. Anyways, let's get on to the review. We're looking at the SH Figuarts Premium Color Alphamon. Here's the packaging for the Premium Color edition of SH Figuarts Alphamon. Now this is, of course, Alphamon based on Digimon Digital Monster X Evolution, which was a CG animated movie that I don't believe was ever released outside Japan, or wasn't dubbed in English at least. So this is Alphamon's first appearance when he was an evolution of Dorumon. He's now taken on a life of his own as a royal knight and part of the Digimon lore. He showed up in Digimon Adventure Tri, not in a significant capacity, but he was there. So it's really nice to get a new updated version of this Figuart. Much like with the previous Premium Color Omegamon that I reviewed on the channel, this is an upgrade to a pre-existing mold, not a new mold, but that'll change down the line with the Premium Color editions, and we'll get into that later. I do like how these two packaging styles are similar. Like they have the color, the gray part down the middle, and then the two separate sides, where this was two different colors. This is just two different sides of Alphamon. So pretty cool. It is a much larger box because there is more to Alphamon's whole package than there was Omegamon, and that is something we'll look at. Also of note, this was a premium Bandai exclusive Figuart in Japan, but for the US and Canada, Bluefin Brands was able to get it released as a normal retail release, which is the same for Imperial Dramon Premium Color Edition and the upcoming Dukemon Premium Color Edition. So thank you to Bluefin for getting this out of the trap that is known as Premium Bandai. It's funny because Omegamon was a Premium Bandai US exclusive, whereas the rest of these have been retail now. So that's a sign that I think that Digimon Figuarts are doing well enough in US and Canada for Bluefin to bring them out. So hopefully this guy is easier to get than other Premium Bandai exclusives in the past. But anyways, a bunch of cool stuff. We're going to open this up, take a look at this guy, and see what is so premium color about him. So what's interesting about Alphamon is that he's not a main character Digimon Protag's partner or anything like with some of the other Figuarts. They tend to go for those higher profile main character sort of companions. Alphamon is a main character in and of himself in X Evolution, and this is a really cool looking figure. Now, unlike with Omegamon, where I was able to compare to all the previous versions, this is the only Alphamon figure I own. I didn't get the original Figuarts version or the Digivolving Spirits one. I don't know why, because I like Alphamon's design, but I think it's just I don't have the character attachment to him. But with this one, I was like, this looks like the full package, and we'll get into that as well. Because I did do my research, I know what the original came with. First things first, just a very, very nice color scheme. I love the blacks with the golds, the little accents of red, and the little accents of white on the inner part of the arm. It all looks really nice, and it's really well painted. That's one of the things I can say about the Digimon Premium Color Figuarts, is they look amazing. Especially because even though he's, black colored, which may seem it to be harder to do like the metallic-y paint like with Omegamon, this one has sparkles inside. Sparkles? I don't know. It's going to be maybe hard to pick up on camera because of that darker color, but if you look there, yeah, you can see it perfectly right there. He's got like metallic sparkles in the black paint, which just gives him a very, very nice look. There's more to this guy than just say, hey, it's black plastic or black paint. It's got some metallicness to it. What always impresses me about Digimon Figuarts is how they get the eye detail done, because look at that. That is a tiny, tiny face, but they got the eyes painted in there perfectly. Like he's looking properly. It looks like he's looking up there because his head's tilted up. But you get his, head down there, and you can catch that glimmer of gold. It looks really, really nice. And I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. These premium color figures do run close to $100 or a little more depending on where you look. So it's really nice that they just really went for the paint detail. Like even the little jewel under there is fully painted because this piece moves. It's just really impressive paintwork, and that's part of what you're paying for, but there is a lot more to this guy otherwise. So naturally, just like how Omegamon went from having a plastic cape to a cloth one, this is also a cloth cape, where the previous Alphamon Figuart had a plastic one. But I like this one a lot more, and it may just be because of the design. So if we bring in the Omegamon premium color, which you can see it has kind of this like more leathery upper layer, and then it's got this fabric bottom layer, but it's very stiff. And so even though it's got the wire running all the way through, it's kind of a stiff cape. It looks fine, it can pose well, it works for Omegamon. But when it comes to Alphamon's cape, this is actually kind of a drapier cloth, because it's actually cloth in 2 layers. So you can see that there, and especially with the way they cut it, so it has that tattered effect, is really nice. But it is sewn together, and then there's actually not one big wire around the edge. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 wires. So you can actually get even more dynamic posing out of it without the cloth sort of draping it down. Like you get kind of that motion to it. And I didn't show this off in this video, but it plugs into the cape. The cape plugs in the same way it does on Omegamon, where you pull the plate, you put the part over, you fold it back down. It works pretty well. But yeah, you can get the cape pretty splayed out, even with just those wires and not, you know, a wire through the bottom. And look at that. I actually think that looks, honestly, much better. And it has me excited for future ones like Gallantmon. So you're probably thinking, okay, cool, the cape can pose, can the rest of the figure pose as well? And I'm happy to say he does. So he poses incredibly well, which is what you kind of expect from SH Figuarts. So the head's on a ball joint, moves around, tilts, gets all kinds of different posing options. These shoulders, they move 360, though you'll have some collision between the shoulder pad and the backpack. The shoulder pad flips up like this. It's hooked around the inside of the joint there, which is really handy. So the shoulders move out. They twist at the bicep. This other panel also moves. He's got a double jointed elbow that goes about that far, and then he's got ball jointed wrists, which work really well. But I will say it's not the standard Figuart wrist where you have the double ball joint here, making it really hard to put hands on. It's a stiff peg, but they gave it enough motion so you can actually just pop it on real easy, but it still moves as much as you'd expect it to on other Figuarts, and I like that design a lot better. The actual torso, he's got a waist joint, which is kind of loose on mine, and I don't know if that's just because of the weight of his backpack. He's got an upper torso, and like I said, this piece moves, so you can get it kind of twisted if you want. The hips move out, but the legs are kind of heavy, so they're not really going to hold there unless you've got them flat on the ground. Hips move forward, move back, thigh swivel, and he's got a double jointed knee, which again doesn't go too far because of the bulk of his legs. And then he's got a ball jointed ankle, which moves all around and does cool stuff. So pretty nice overall. He can pose incredibly well, but let's look at some of those hand options he comes with. So his default is 2 fists, so he can rough and tumble and punch people out, which isn't really Alphamon's thing, but hey, it's an option. He's got these more relaxed kind of battle hands. I always pair this with another hand and not really just them on their own, but they're very nicely posed. It's got some different looks to it than just, hey, here's fists or flat palms. He also comes with this outstretched palm hand, which actually does have the crystal painted on the inside. Nice detail. And this is for one of his main attacks from the X Evolution movies that has carried forward every other appearance of him. And his last pair of hands are open to hold things. So let's get him some things to hold. So first up, we have the Divine Sword Grade Alpha, which is actually from Cyber Sleuth, I believe, and not X Evolution, but it looks really cool. It's like a blade of light that pierces another Digimon. It's really cool looking, and it makes a great accessory on this figure. So the next accessories to look at are on the back. So these are his wings, essentially, and the way that they are portrayed in the anime and in several media is that they have wing effects to them. But the original Alphamon Figuart just had the wing pods. So what we're going to do is remove these, because these do come off easily for this, and I'll show you how this works. So you can see how we got these ridges here. It's going to be tricky getting the camera to focus. Let's get him completely out of frame. So looking at this, we've got these ridges here and these ridges here, and these will be replaced. Now, it can be kind of tricky to get these out because they're really secure. And in fact, in the packaging, they're not even attached. They have the effect parts attached, but you got to get these out of here. And as you can see, it's really hard, because they're sort of intrinsically linked, top and bottom, but you just got to get the right leverage. That's why I didn't cut my nails. So we got that out, and then this piece should fall right out as well. And then you get to bring in this wonderful wing effect, which you want to have facing outward like this. Line it up, pops it in, and then the top part is also going to be kind of splayed out. So that way you get his full wing effect, which again, these are really nicely painted. It's got that kind of sparkly plastic color to it, which is really nice. And then these are just put off to the side in place of those. But this is impressive. So you can see Alphamon with his wings is very, very impressive. But there is a problem. As you can see him start to tip, he's kind of back heavy with these things. Now you can position them just right so that they balance out with the cape, and then it actually tripods them pretty good. There is that option, but for more dynamic posing, you get a Tamashii stage. Very similar to the one that came with Omegamon and pretty much like most of the Digimon Figuarts. Circular base, big, beefy thing. Normal sized pole arm, not like the extended one that Omegamon had, because Alphamon's connector is in the middle of his waist. Which is kind of awkward, but it does counterbalance him nicely, so you can get some more dynamic posing. But speaking of dynamic posing, there is one more accessory. This final accessory did come with the original Alphamon Figuart, but since that time it has been redefined as not only a mode change, but a Jogress or DNA Digivolution, and that would be the Ouryuken, which actually comes in two parts to make this easy. So there's the handle part here, which can slide through the hand, nice and simple, and then the blade part, which plugs on here. What's funny is in the original X Evolution, this was just sort of a weapon summon. Same thing goes for Digimon Tri, but fans of the Digimon video games will know this is actually Ouryumon transformed into a weapon, sort of Jogressing with Alphamon to make Alphamon Ouryuken mode. And this thing is so big, I'm having trouble getting it into frame. This is an impressively large weapon, and I'm really happy to see it here, especially since the Digivolving Spirits Ouryumon to Ouryuken never got to happen. So this is a really nice presentation. And I think that this really works with this version of Alphamon having the better cape, but also having the wing effects, because that kind of completes the look, especially from X Evolution, and how we typically see Ouryuken mode be giant sword plus wings, instead of just giant sword like the original Figuart. So absolutely a full upgrade to the original. If you never had the original Alphamon Figuart, this is a no-brainer if you want a figure of Alphamon. If you have that original, you got to decide how much wings and a cape are going to be worth it to you. But let's see how he looks alongside other Digimon SH Figuarts and D-Arts releases. So the first and most obvious comparison would be with Alphamon Premium Color with Omegamon Premium Color. So you can see Alphamon stands a little bit taller, as he should. That is the good approximate scale, and they look really fantastic next to each other. These two complement each other well, and they are issuing in the new era of Digimon Figuarts, so I appreciate that. So here's Alphamon next to Imperial Dramon, and Imperial Dramon here was the third premium color figure, but because I like the way this looks, and the premium color doesn't give it like a new cape or new accessories like with Omegamon, I didn't feel like rebuying a premium color edition, but this is the comparison there size-wise. So they're all roughly in the same size class. And then here he is with D-Arts Dukemon, who will be the next premium color coming this fall, who's actually going to be a completely new mold, which is great, because every time I pull this figure out to look at it, I realize how ancient it feels. So it's getting a full redo, which is wonderful. And I'm glad that this line of premium color Figuarts is continuing. I'd love to see it expand beyond the Royal Knights. And then here's a group shot of everybody, looking really snazzy, looking really cool. And yeah, I mean, scale-wise, they're all right. They're all kind of about the same height, which is really interesting when you think about it, but all neat-looking figures. So overall, SH Figuarts Premium Color Alphamon, fantastic. I really can't recommend it enough. If you can afford it, because he is quite expensive. Like I said, he's about $100, I think he's $105, something like that. He is expensive, but he is worth it. I've definitely been, slowing down on Figuarts because of the prices, especially with all the premium Bandai on the Tokusatsu side. But I really love their Digimon Figuarts because they feel up to the quality that I would expect from a line like SH Figuarts, and I'm happy to say that Alphamon is no different. So like I said, I'm skipping over Imperial Dramon. I will be getting Dukemon because he is a new mold and I'm looking forward to it, and we'll review him sometime later this year, hopefully, whenever he comes out. At least US side, because, you know, he'll be out in Japan before he's out in the US just because of the nature of Bluefin. But I really like this figure, and I can definitely recommend it. If you enjoyed this video, though, please give it a like, hit subscribe and the notification bell, and hit the comments and tell me about what you want to see Digimon's Figuarts line do next. I personally am looking for something crazy, like, I don't know, anybody from Frontier. They're all doing humanoid Digimon and Figuarts. It seems like Frontier would be a no-brainer. But again, you know, bias around Frontier in Japan and across the world. It's not the most popular show, but I would love to see something like this for like a Susanoo-mon or a Kaiser Greymon, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, if you enjoyed this, also check out other Digimon videos on my channel. I reviewed the Figurized Standard War Greymon not too long ago, so take a look. There's definitely more on the channel. Also, be sure to check out my awesome graphic designer on Twitter at DarkClaw643 and Hero Club at hero-club.com. Until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.